3, 2, 1, go!
Cukup nih ramai. Ikan itu cantik, hijau. Kualitas sama sama.
So we've got 5 clutch awards, and then we've got a big one. What's the big one?
The big one's our award. That's our kind of best in show. So.
Best in show, right. So we're going to go with the 5 awards and then best in show at the end.
And creativity award here as well from us.
Oh,
creativity
hello.
award.
Shall we do that one first then, before we get into their awards?
If you want
Let's
to,
go
yeah.
for it. Yeah.
So our creativity award is to this beautiful 500cc bike down here. Now, if you want to know how to win a creativity award from the Anarchy Garage, it has to be unique. It has to be something that is not even resembling what it originally came out. So this is made by Craig Hood. This has a TV in the dashboard, and it also has a fax machine down the side of it. The wheels are beautiful. It is honestly, every inch of this is incredible. So, massive congratulations to our winner, the Creativity Award.
That's awesome. Thank you, Anarchy Garage, for the support today and the help during the burnout demos, as well as bringing along some cool vehicles. So, Matt, what do we have first? Without saying who the...
have you spent, eh?